Okay, this person's having leaks in their roof and they want to know, is the spacing on their shingles proper? Because they're having a lot of leaks and the pattern looks a little bit funky to them. Let's check it out. Is the spacing on these shingles proper? I thought you were supposed to cut a book so they lined up evenly and not have small pieces. There have been numerous leaks on this roof due to what seems to be lack of proper overlay covering nails. Well, that can be a big issue. If the nails are in those what they call keyways, or where the shingles butt together, or within, there's going to be a lot of debate on this, but most manufacturers at the end of the day, if you look in the fine print, will tell you that the nail needs to be at least 2 inches away from that. Now, I've seen water stains where 2 inches is not really enough, but that's the rule of thumb. All right, so there's one comment here that it looks like they used a bunch of random scrap pieces for the area. No, it's not correct. The installation instructions printed on the back of every bag explains this, which is true, but it doesn't look random to me. I'll tell you why. Now, the next person says you're only technically supposed to respect the 5 5/8 inch stagger. We use the book to help us get started and make it easier for the installer to lay the material. Okay, 5 5/8 inch means from the edge of one to the other, 5 5/8. Why is that? Well, because most guys that use the training wheels on their nail gun, the gauge, it's set for 5 5/8 inches, so they'll just turn it sideways. That's that gap from here to here. They'll turn it sideways to space their shingles over, just and over, which is fine. It worked with 3 tabs for 2.5 centuries, and 5 5/8 works. A lot of people will want more. Some of the manufacturers say bigger steps. Some of them have a more randomized pattern, but at the end of the day, 5 5/8 inch works. 6 is a little bit better number to use, but that's why they get. There was a time when we used a 5 inch, and why? Because with English size shingles, you'd set the nail gun for 5 inches. So, but let's talk about this really quick. If you look closely, the randomized pieces, I don't think, and here's why. Okay, as far as random pieces, I mean, I could see there's a joint, there we go here, 1, 2, it looks like joint. It really looks like what's happening is they're running 3 pieces. So they probably are kind of running what we would call a rack, okay? Where normally it was a rack was 2 shingles, you could just go back and forth like this, and it would have a pattern. It looked like a brick wall. Look, this is like a 3 shingle rack. So they're going 2 and then coming back over and running 3. Technically not right, but it would still shed water. And without seeing where the nails are and the nail placement, young man, I have a parasite, hold on. All right, so the pattern here is not specifically correct, but it's not, well, it should look more reasonably like this, where it continues a full stair step up and over. Those are 3 tabs, the same principle applies. There's a little bit closer. Why they put a picture of 3 tabs over dimensionals, I don't know. There's a little more accurate. You need to find out who your manufacturer is and what they recommend for step spacing. That's what I recommend you do. So without a picture of where those nails are actually placed, I can't tell you if you have nails in the keyway or not. It's something you'd have to open up and look at. I don't think the pattern is exactly the problem. It's technically not right, but I've seen the 6 inch rack. I mean, theoretically, it should work fine. The main reason why they want to see this more random pattern is because of the way the wind will grab the shingles. And if you can move it at different intervals, then it has less likelihood of ripping, just going. So that pattern, while technically not right, that should not be the cause of leaking. And just judging by the distance, I know that it's 5 5/8 from the top, so I can kind of guess from the picture. Here, let's look at. Yeah, so here we are. I mean, you can see that from the bottom of the shingle to the top should be 5 5/8, and they're pretty close to that. I mean, some manufacturers tell you that the minimum is 4 inches. They give you a guide, and then when you get to the fine print, somewhere there's a minimum, and it just depends on who makes it. But they're pretty close to where they need to be, sufficiently enough that it shouldn't be leaking because of that step. You're going to have to dig a little deeper into this one to find out what's really going on there. Sorry, it's not the answer you're looking for, but happy roofing. If you can get some pictures of it for us, with a couple shingles open, be great. If not, I really think you need to have someone actually come out and walk the roof and get on and take a look around. Have a good night.